If you're like me and you love your games with turn-based tactics and strategy, the problem is that you may have played them all already. But don't worry, as today I'll be uncovering 18 epic tactical RPG hidden gems for you to enjoy. So if you're looking for games that focus on a good story, come with tons of role-playing and progression elements, or you just want some badass epic turn-based battles, look no further. These hidden gems may have gone under your radar, but I'm sure there's something here for you to enjoy. Starting with Sunderfolk, which is this magical turn-based tactical RPG that goes, hey, so remember Dungeons and Dragons? Well, imagine that, but there's a board, cards, and everyone plays it on their phones in front of a TV. I'm not sure why this has taken so long to be created, but here we are. Inspired by the popular Gloomhaven, you and up to 3 friends each pick one of 6 heroes, from a teleporting crow anarchist to a pyromaniac axolotl, and then you just go crazy in these bite-sized missions to protect your village from corruption and chaos. You'll be setting up moves, chaining abilities, and all working together in perfect harmony. You know, like every Dungeons and Dragons playthrough, without any quarreling whatsoever. But hey, once you do get that collaboration going, it is well worth it. And yeah, you'll be doing all of this on one screen, like your TV in the lounge or wherever, with everyone being on their phones, but instead of it being social media, you'll all be jamming together. The gameplay is simple enough for anyone to grasp, and yet high difficulties are quite challenging. And the good news is that you only need to have one copy to play this with friends. But the hard part is, well, you need to have some friends. So if you know of Gloomhaven and you weren't really a fan, or if you want a game that you can easily play with friends or family, locally or remote, then Sunderfolk is a hidden gem worth checking out. Then next on the list is Phantom Brigade by the studio Brace Yourself Games, which is on this list because not only is it today's sponsor, but it's also just a really good game with a surprise up its sleeve. Well, actually two. The first is that it's a hybrid turn-based and real-time tactical RPG, but it's got a very unique, interesting game mechanic. You can bend time like you're some kind of, I don't know, time bender, but yeah, I'll get to more of that soon. The second is that this bad boy is also getting its free 2.0 update dropping on November 19th. This means new missions, skill trees, and a whole bunch of upgrades. To me, Phantom Brigade is one of those games that let you live out your dreams of mech-on-mech action, coming with some deeply satisfying combat, as well as that timeline-based twist that might just break your brain a few times. It plays a bit like a puzzle game in a way though. So you've got this timeline area at the bottom right, where you'll place your movements, attacks, and so on. If you move that timeline forward, you'll be able to see what exactly the enemy will do. Easy peasy. Wrong. You see, at first, you'll be editing your attacks like how I edit my videos, very poorly. But after like 2 hours, you'll be running so many cool attacks with these epic cinematic shots. It's just really cool, I'm not gonna lie. The customization is also top notch. You can tweak pretty much everything, from your pilots all the way to the mechs themselves. And yeah, I'll be honest, I think I tinkered around here for a bit too long, especially when it comes to the various skill trees for my pilots, which was very cool. The campaign has also received a revamp, coming with new objectives and things to do, and a bonus is that if you haven't played it already, it's 50% off from November 19th until December 3rd. So if you're a fan of mech action and you like what you see, maybe go check out Phantom Brigade today, especially with that new update. Then next on the list is Cybernight's Flashpoint, for fans of sneaky stealth action but also want to live out your Ryan Gosling fantasies. Cybernight Flashpoint is a deep turn-based tactics game that blends Cyberpunk 2077's futuristic style with XCOM-like strategic gameplay, except it's a lot more heavy on the stealth. Like, a lot more. But while it does encourage a lot of stealth, players can still unleash chaos if they prefer. That's me, I'm that player. The game throws you straight into its complex systems, offering tons of customization, from cyberpunk-inspired outfits all the way to diverse character classes with unique skills. Each team member brings something different to the table. You've got sword fighters, you've got hackers, you've got support specialists, all of whom can be developed through an extensive skill tree and even multi-class combinations for endless flexibility. And yes, I'll be honest, those skill trees can feel overwhelming in the beginning. Like, the skill tree looks like a damn redwood, if you know what I mean. Luckily, the missions will keep you just as busy, where a ton of planning is needed to go your way, else if you cause too much commotion, well, you're gonna have everyone and their auntie after you. Then it comes with the base building side of things, and again, also, it has so many layers, like even just choosing what doctor you want to go to when you're low on health, that has a lot of choices. I'm like, damn, I just hope I'm covered with insurance. So yeah, if you love your stealthy tactical games, Cyber Knight's Flashpoint is now out of early access. Just be warned that these devs love their updates, over 50 I think right now, probably more coming soon. So if that's okay with you and you are okay with tons of skill trees, then this might just be the game for you. Coming up next on the list is Warhammer 40k Battlesector. Another Warhammer banger, but this one sometimes goes under the radar. See, I've already featured Chaos Gate and Mechanicus, both epic games, so I thought I'd cover this one too in case you missed it. Developed and published by Slytherin, this one drops you into the iconic Warhammer 40k universe in Baal, commanding the mighty Blood Angels against the swarming Tyranids. Now, where Chaos Gate and Mechanicus were very much like XCOM, this one is more like Age of Wonders Planetfall. So it's a turn-based tactics game, but at the division level rather than at the squad level, giving it more of a tabletop-like feel. And I must say the presentation nails the brutal dark tone of 40k. There's so much carnage and everything just looks epic all the time. Plus the combat is pretty intense too. It comes with this momentum mechanic that rewards smart plays and chaining kills, making you feel strategic but also so damn powerful. I will say though, for its price, it's maybe a bit high. Maybe wait for a sale, especially with the DLC, as it gives you some more factions to choose from. However, the game is still a lot of fun. It's very immersive and comes with a very well written campaign and story. Slytherin don't like to mess around when it comes to their games, and if you're wanting some Warhammer battles on a grander scale, then this one might be the game to check out. Then coming up next is Tactical Breach Wizards, which yes, I've featured before, but it is still a hidden gem worth uncovering. This is a turn-based tactics game where the soldiers are swapped for sorcerers, and breaching doors comes with a side of spellcasting. It's from the studio behind Gunpoint and Heat Signature, so you know it's going to have some inventive gameplay, but to me it just reminds me of XCOM meets Harry Potter in a weird, glorious way. You'll be commanding a ragtag squad of magic-wielding misfits, where these missions play out on small, puzzle-like maps full of environmental hazards and yes, windows to throw people through. Every character has a unique toolkit designed for creative combos, like clones that can double as gun platforms, telekinetic shoves that turn walls into weapons, and of course a battlefield that can flip fights in seconds. I wouldn't say it's the most difficult game, and sometimes the one-liners can be a bit much, but it's a very clever and well laid out game. So if you can get by with its humor, it's got really good world building, and the inventive mechanics always make this game worth looking into. So if that sounds like your kind of game, Tactical Breach Wizards might be worth checking out. Coming up next on the list is Rogue Waters, which, try and guess, it's a roguelite, except, you know, with pirates. You play as Captain Cutter, who somehow has a gemstone in their eye, and you're on the run from the villainous Captain Blackbone. Your goal here, well, it's to plunder, survive, and uncover the secrets of a mystical ocean filled with monsters, magic, and some very angry sailors. Each run sees you charting new waters, managing your ship, and diving into beautifully animated naval skirmishes that somehow flow seamlessly into grid-based melee combat. And yes, I must say the combat is pretty interesting. You see battles unfold in two phases. First you have these cannon duels at sea, and then that transforms into these sword fights on the deck. Here you've got a lot of positioning, as well as these environmental hazards like barrels, ropes, water, and so on, as well as pushing your foes overboard or onto a spike. It all gives the fight some serious spice to them. Sure, the cannon phase can be a bit undercooked at times and the progression can feel a bit slow, but it's still a lot of fun. If you love tactical strategy, pirate themes, and messy chaos with your cutlasses, well then Rogue Waters is a strong pick. Next up on the list is Tactics Ogre Reborn, which is a remaster of one of the most influential tactical RPGs ever made, the game that inspired titles like Final Fantasy Tactics. It throws you into a gritty medieval fantasy torn apart by war, politics, and betrayal, where every decision you make shapes the story and its multiple endings. You'll be playing as Denim, a young rebel caught between rival factions and moral choices that don't always have easy answers. The story also isn't just good versus evil, it's about loyalty, sacrifice, and the cost of doing what's right. Gameplay-wise, it's a classical turn-based tactics game. Think grid maps, terrain advantages, and deep class systems. Reborn also polishes the original with smarter enemy AI, faster pacing, reorchestrated music, and the Wheel of Fate system, which lets you revisit key moments in the story to explore alternate paths. That being said, it still feels like an old school SRPG or strategy RPG. Battles can be a bit long, and some design quirks like the buff cards or limited leveling might test some modern players' patience. But if you're new to the series and want a rich story-driven tactical RPG with meaningful choices, incredible music, and massive replay value, Tactics Ogre Reborn is the best way to experience a timeless classic. Coming up next on the list is Bloodgrounds, where someone watched the movie Gladiator and thought, hey, this needs more weird fantasy and less pixels. In this tactical RPG, you play as a freed gladiator who decides the best way to celebrate his newfound liberty is to start a management business of more gladiators. I played the demo during the Steam Next Fest and just loved the gameplay in the arena. Like, you had so much variety with your moves, and then it comes with a part where you can appease the crowds by doing side objectives, and it just gets you really immersed into the whole thing. Then between these brutal turn-based arena fights, you can rebuild your villa, recruit new fighters, patch up the not so healthy ones, and upgrade your facilities brick by brick. I guess the only issue is that it's still in early access, but I was just so hooked by the visual style, and I played a bit too much Gladiator Manager on my phone, so this was an easy win for me. It plays a bit like Darkest Dungeon in a way, if you're a fan of that series. It's got like these units that get negative traits, they get injured, and there's also that city management area like you had with Hamlet. But if you've been looking for a gladiator-themed tactical RPG with character customization and city management, then Bloodgrounds might be right down your alley. Next up on the list is Arco, a game that's my name without an M, but it comes with a ton of tactical gameplay and emotional storytelling. This is a turn-based tactical RPG set in early Mesoamerica, where it's this world full of magic, vengeance, and survival. You play through 3 distinct character arcs, each shaped by choices and driven by blood-forged motivations. The combat is sharp, like it's got this system that lets you pause after each move, planning your next step, and then watching how enemies respond. I'd say it leans more towards the puzzle level of tactical gameplay, so it comes with positioning, anticipating attacks, and so on. Plus it comes with these cool boss fights and battlefield tricks to keep things fresh and interesting. However, where Arco really stands out is its setting and story. It comes with gritty narratives and real emotional punches, coming with trauma, guilt, and revenge all baked in. And I know you might be wondering, but Marco, where did all the pixels go? I think it works in a game that comes with these vibrant color palettes and pixel art landscapes. That being said, Arco isn't for the casual gamer. Like, it comes with some quality of life issues and some story parts go a bit wonky, but if you stick through it, the reward is well worth it. It's just a game that comes with a unique setting, layered mechanics, and a narrative that might stick around in your brain for a little while. So if you're craving a tactical RPG that isn't just another XCOM clone, then Arco might be something worth checking out. Coming up next on the list is Capes, which is a game for people who really enjoyed or didn't enjoy Midnight Suns and want something else. Capes drops you into the gritty yet vibrant world of King City, where supervillains won a war and now power is outlawed. Now it's your job to assemble a team of up-and-coming heroes and bring the fight back to the oppressors and reclaim the city. On the gameplay side, those who have played on grid-based tactics games will be very familiar with this, but it comes with a twist of that superhero flair. Each hero has unique powers, and there's also the team-up mechanic where heroes can work together. They've got these combos that they can unleash on the enemies. It's very satisfying, and these synergies matter quite a bit. The story, on the other hand, leans into the familiar superhero territory. You know, the underdog team, dystopian city, morally grey figures. So they're not trying to reinvent the genre, but it does provide a solid backdrop. Many people might also be put off by the basic gameplay in the beginning, but I'd say try sticking with it, as in the end your heroes are so staunch, it's incredible. And it's just crazy how they started out as basic nobodies. Sure, it's a little rough around the edges, but if you love tactical depth, comic book flair, and clever power synergies, well then Capes is worth checking out, especially if it's on sale. Next on the list is Shardpunk, where if you love pixel art and tense tactical survival, well then keep watching. This is a gritty turn-based strategy game set in the steampunk city that is collapsing under an invasion of humanoid rats. Each mission is a desperate sprint towards safety, forcing you to balance combat, scavenging, and survival management. You'll constantly be juggling limited ammo, dwindling supplies, and the mental strain of your squad, all while trying to protect this adorable robot. And here every decision matters. Sometimes I'd push too far and then my team would just fall apart, but if you play too cautiously, you can be overwhelmed, rewarding bold tactical plays rather than the usual slow defensive approach seen in similar titles. Between battles, you do have some downtime, well sort of. You'll tend to your wounded, ration scarce resources, and watch bonds form between your survivors, adding some emotional depth to your strategic choices. And even though it's only for PC, this is an under-the-radar gem that mixes survival tension, tight tactics, and steampunk flair. And if that sounds like a game for you, well then maybe go check out Shardpunk today. Then coming up next on the list is Lost Eidolons Veil of the Witch, who Grid Commander, one of my favorite YouTubers, calls it a tactician's dream. You play as Ash, a resurrected warrior bound to a mysterious witch on a cursed island crawling with imperial soldiers and unspeakable monsters. Each run in this roguelike sends you and your ragtag crew into tactical grid-based battles where positioning, timing, and smart use of skills decide who makes it back alive. Between runs, you can return to town to strengthen your bonds, unlock upgrades, and expand your skill tree using the shards you've earned from one or two failures. The world building and voice acting bring a lot of depth to the game's bleak fantasy, even as the visuals and map design occasionally stumble in some places. If you crave Fire Emblem style strategy fused with roguelike progression, well then Lost Eidolons Veil of the Witch offers a rewarding experience worth checking out. Then coming up next on the list is Metal Slug Tactics. It's basically Into the Breach with a heavy dose of nostalgia. This is a stylish turbocharged reimagining of SNK's legendary run and gun series that I'd still play to this day, except here it swaps reflexes with strategy without losing an ounce of flair. You take command of the Peregrine Falcons, an elite squad blasting through compact grid-based missions that, yes, feel a lot like Into the Breach, one of my favorite games of all time. So it is a turn-based tactics roguelite, but it moves with the swagger and spectacle of an arcade shooter, coming with explosive pixel art, thundering guitar riffs, and tanks that look like they could punch through your monitor. Plus, every battle rewards your momentum and coordination. For example, it's got the adrenaline system that keeps your squad moving and dodging in rhythm, while the sync attacks unleash some devastating team combos that always look so impressive. So if you love your tactics to be fast, flashy, and dripping with personality, Metal Slug Tactics is definitely worth checking out. Next on the list is Our Adventurer Guild, which is basically a love letter to the strategy RPG genre. You step into the shoes of the new head of a dying adventurer guild, inheriting the reins and deciding whether you'll steer it to glory or let it crumble. You'll recruit, customize, and train your adventurers, sending them off on quests, leading them into these grid-based tactical battles, and then managing the guild's mood, relationships, and equipment. Think of it as a mix of Final Fantasy Tactics with its inclusion of all the battles and the jobs, as well as Darkest Dungeon with its mix of permadeath and how the dungeons are all set up. Your party size is limited, and character traits and class progression actually do matter. It has a lot of Fire Emblem vibes too, with the level of customization, like it's full of skill trees, min-maxing classes, relationship synergies, and the game loop is just so much fun. And sure, the graphics are a bit underwhelming. It's sitting at an overwhelmingly positive rating on Steam, so they must be doing something right. So if you're into tactical RPGs where you build up a team, manage a guild, and enjoy seeing your characters grow and succeed, or maybe just fail completely, then Our Adventurer Guild is a strong pick. Next on the list is Crown Wars: The Black Prince, which pulls some mechanics from Fire Emblem and Final Fantasy Tactics into the 100 Years' War, which is pretty interesting. You command a noble house struggling for power in war-torn medieval France, managing your castle, recruiting soldiers, and then leading your squads across a very grim map of Europe. Battles unfold on square grids with directional movement, elevation bonuses, and a roster of customizable classes. From these badass knights to these beast masters with pet bears, which yeah, it's not really a lot of history involved, but it is a lot of fun. Between missions, you'll then get to heal your wounded troops and upgrade your domain. And while the voiced cutscenes aren't the best and the difficulty can be quite uneven at times, its mix of history and tactical depth make it quite an interesting game. So if you enjoy your tactical RPGs where positioning and planning matter a lot, and you love your medieval background, well then Crown Wars: The Black Prince is worth looking into, despite it being a bit rough around those edges. Then next up is Those Who Rule, which is a gritty new tactical RPG from a solo developer. It's got a lot of Fire Emblem style combat where you'll be commanding a squad of rangers, and then you'll be fighting through a world torn apart by war and betrayal. Every decision carries a lot of weight, so whether you choose to spare, extort, or execute your enemies makes a big difference. Like what seems the best thing to do in one moment might come back and bite you a little while later. The battles are intense, large-scale affairs where you'll often be outnumbered but never powerless. Each of these 6 core fighters, the fighter, soldier, skirmisher, defender, archer, and medic, all have their own strengths, weapon proficiencies, and branching promotions that unlock later on. The positioning, teamwork, and smart use of the environment also make a big deal because you get to decide who lives and who dies, and you know, here, death is permanent. Between missions, you'll also get to return to base to manage your equipment, recruit allies, and talk to your squad mates. These conversations deepen your connection to the characters and unlock personal quests that affect both morale and rewards. The visuals also have a handcrafted charm to them, while the orchestral soundtrack gives every moment, whether it's a bloody standoff or a quiet campfire scene, a lot of emotional weight. Those Who Rule is tough but very rewarding and a must play for anyone craving some serious tactical depth. Then coming up next on the list is Tower of Time, a richly detailed RPG that turns classic dungeon crawling into a cerebral real-time tactical experience. You'll descend into a mysterious upside-down tower buried deep beneath a dying world, commanding a band of heroes on a mission to uncover the secrets of its arcane power. What sets this game apart though is its inventive combat system, a hybrid of real-time and strategic pause mechanics that demands sharp thinking and quick adaptation. You can slow down time to issue orders, manipulate enemy movement, deploy magical barriers, or coordinate devastating attacks across a dynamic battlefield. The world itself looks very good. It blends classic isometric exploration with modern visuals and environmental storytelling. The lore in the game also runs deep. It's packed with mysterious magic, fading civilizations, and moments of just quiet wonder between intense battles. And yes, the character AI has some quirks and the pacing is a bit off, but overall the game has a lot of ambition. So if you enjoy RPGs that make you think 3 moves ahead while immersing you into richly built fantasy settings, well then Tower of Time might be the game for you. And then last but not least, we've got Troubleshooter: Abandoned Children. Again, another game that I've included multiple times, but I can't recommend it enough. Troubleshooter is a massive turn-based tactical RPG that somehow manages to be both chaotic and deeply satisfying at the same time. You play as a crew of superpowered cops for hire, cleaning up a city that's gone completely off the rails. Each mission feels like a mix of tactical brilliance and controlled madness, a bit like XCOM at times, but with a few key differences. For example, one thing that will hook you in is the customization. It's pretty insane. Like, you thought Cyber Knights went deep? Nah, that was just like a splash pool. Each character has a web of masteries, basically skills and perks, that you can combine into wild, crazy builds. You can go from like a fire-slinging sniper to a sword master with pet drones. Like, the choice is up to you. It's like character theory crafting heaven, though the sheer complexity might be a bit too much at first. Sure, the crafting can be a bit of a chore, but honestly, the design, the characters, and the combat all make up for it. Troubleshooter: Abandoned Children is definitely for the tactician who loves a challenge, a good story, and way too many menus, but it's easily one of the most satisfying tactical RPGs of all time. But that wraps up my list. What did you think? What hidden gems did I miss out on? Let me know in the comment section. But if you did find something that you like the look of, maybe drop a like or maybe even subscribe to find more games to get lost in. But other than that, it's Marco here from Easily Distracted Games, and as always, don't stop gaming.